Hey friends, Jessica Mason here with another episode of Sober Story. So I would like to talk about being a dry drunk. Being a dry drunk means that you are abstaining from alcohol. Thanks, Ruben. But you are still repeating alcoholic behaviors in your life. This is on my mind because as I am looking back and analyzing and trying to figure out how I stayed in such an unhealthy situation for so long, and realizing that I was just repeating the same behaviors that I was with when I was drinking, making excuses and living this, living a dichotomy of what I wanted it to be, what I thought it could be, and what it really was. And that is something that we all do. It's not just addicts, alcoholics. It's especially in this Instagram culture, right? That we have what we want our life to be, what people think it is, and then what it really is. And I suspect that for people who have lived that dual life, like addicts and alcoholics have, that perhaps we do that more naturally. And I was thinking about that movie. I think it's called The Imagineer. It's Wolverine and Christian Bale, Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale. And spoiler alert, so if you haven't seen it, don't. But two guys play one character, and in the beginning of this character's marriage, he says, "I love you," and his wife says, "Not today," but that makes it mean more on the days that you do, because only one of the people, who was this character, or this person, loved her. And at the end of their marriage, he said, "I love you." And she said, "Yes, you do today," because it was the one who loved her. And she said, which makes it that much more painful on the days that you don't. And I thought about that a lot during my marriage. I shared pictures of moments where I would get cuddles, times that he would hold my hand, times that he would snuggle up with me on the couch. And in the beginning, it felt so precious because it was so rare. That it was so uncomfortable for him to cuddle and to show affection, and that made it feel really special. But the longer that went on, especially after a year in quarantine, I was the woman at the end of the movie saying that when I get it, it just makes it that much worse that I spend so much time wanting. And as I look back at the past 3 years of my life, and I start admitting to myself what my life was really like, how happy I was or wasn't, and realizing that I had repeated the same behaviors that I did when I was in early recovery, that I did when I was still an active addict. And so that brings me back to the dry drunk, that I had stopped tending to my sobriety. My relationship became the most important thing in my life, and the most demanding thing in my life, and those two got very confused. And I wasn't going to meetings, I wasn't working my steps, I didn't have a sponsor, I wasn't working with a sponsee. I was sober, I wasn't drinking, and I thought that was enough. But it wasn't, because I created these situations all over again. I allowed myself to be in this situation, even in sobriety, and I was slowly boiled alive. And so I just would like the point of these videos is to maybe be somebody else's wake up call. What behaviors are you repeating without paying attention to it? What are you tolerating that maybe you wouldn't have, but it's happened slowly? What has chipped away at you? We're all coming out of this pandemic and trying to get back to the life that we had or create a better life. And I just worry that so many of us let the people that we wanted to be, the lives that we had, let it slip away a little at a time. And I think that's also true of drinking. These behaviors that in the beginning don't seem like a problem. Maybe blacking out time to time, or not being able to stop drinking when you want to stop drinking. But they're not all the time in the beginning, or whatever it is, you know, that these little things, these little breadcrumbs that are the warning signs. And there's that quote that you can't see red flags through rose-colored glasses. And I think that being in love, being in codependency, being under the influence, it's all rose-colored glasses, and we don't see things for how they are. So if I can just help one person watching these videos to save them some time, save them some pain, I hope I do. Ruben says hi. He says, that's right. That's what I got.